Welcome back to Inside the History here at Battleship Cove. I'm Tom Lowney, Gunner's Mate First Class Retired, showing you more spaces here at Battleship Cove that help make up this ship as a floating city. Now, on board a ship, we're right next to what's the Carpenter Shop. And you can see here, Chief Carpenter's Mate uniform set up in the patch for the carpenter. And it was embroidered in China, excuse me, in Shanghai. So this display was to show some of the tools of the trade of a carpenter: square, early tape measure, fold out, and as you can see, the different tools of the trade. And this display case is actually one of the doors that used to come into the carpenter shop. Now, Chief John Francis Dunley here had donated this, and display board was done. He was one of the last carpenter's chief on board, and this was donated by him with his tools to kind of show you the trade. And the chief here, it's not gold. Gold means that you had 12 years of good conduct, unbroken. So like every other sailor, he had his moments. But this is, he made chief, and that's symbols for the carpenters. Now, we're going to take a walk around and go look into the shop here. But you're wondering, what are carpenters doing on a battleship? A lot of good things. A battleship has on it teak decks. And what is teak? It's wood. So this wood, if you have battle damage, has to be repaired and made back into its good operating condition. Why teak on a deck? Teak is like insulation. It's durable, it's flexible, it contracts and shrinks to provide that insulation. It's over 2 inches thick. We'll show you some teak wood in here we're working with from the ship. But again, it's part of the building of the ship, because teak decks are thick, durable wood, long lasting, and it helps move material, helps crew keep their footing, and provides that insulation. The teak boards provide up to an R30 insulation, as well as absorbing shock damage, and it's tough to burn. So it's not like you've got to really get the ship hot to get that stuff to burn, and it doesn't spread as much as wood, say pine or some other light wood. It's a heavy wood, thick and dense. And it has its own properties that make it very good material on board ship. Because you got to remember, during the conflict areas, the equator is the best place to be for regions. And the closer you get to it, the hotter the sun is, the longer it is. Steel is like cooking. It's like putting a magnifying glass on steel. It heats up fast. Well, that's what happens basically with the sun on steel decks. So in order for the crew to get work done, store things on deck, move things on deck without burning or convecting heat from heating the steel up, teak wood deck was put on the majority of the ship to help with the insulation. Because insulation on a ship is also more flammable than, say, the teak would be. So it's a trade-off on many different aspects of building a ship. It allows you to have flexibility, it absorbs damage, it also prevents heat from coming up. So to maintain it, we have to have carpenters on board. And there's other things too, like the ship's whaleboats. They were made of wood, not fiberglass. Fiberglass wasn't a big thing yet. So boats were made of wood. So what you see is lifeboats, what we call utility boats, motor whaleboats, 26-footers, 40-footers on board here were made of wood and maintained by carpenters. So they had to have a shop to do that. And you had other decorative things on board ship in peacetime that was normally removed in wartime. But in peacetime, a crew customizes the ship as it goes along and makes things more presentable, like tabletops or certain chairs or something for either the captain, the admiral, whatever. So the carpenters were constantly busy taking care of the teak decks as well as the boats with the engineers. So here's the carpenter shop on the starboard side of the ship. So all that work and other things that happened, we have a carpenter shop. And here we go to take a look inside. You can see the carpenter shop from outside as well because of the plexiglass and expanded metal. But we're going to take you inside of it here. So this is not your modern day carpenter shop. You got to think of the times. We're not going to have all the fancy stuff and the hoppers to collect sawdust and all that fun stuff that you would have in a modern workshop. Guys at this old house and Yankee Workshop and got it made. Here on the Battleship, we have some of what we should have in here, but not most of it, because a lot of the ships, when she was mothballed and made obsolete, came on board and removed all her woodworking material. It was pillagable for other ships in the fleet. That's what happens in a mothball fleet when it's made obsolete. We do the same thing. We come, we get things we need, poof, we're out. So like we used to have a rotary rack here that you would have screws, nails, and so forth, whatever, that was sitting in here. These bins was a rotating bin that you could have drawers and stuff. It's missing. Why? Because somewhere else, some other ships saw it when they came in and said we could use it. So again, something in time we hope to get back. But there was probably a drill press here. That's gone. Some other ship came in, took it. So we don't always have those things. Benches were taken out, work tables. We've put in items to make up the difference here. In time, we hope to get things back, but obviously not periodicity, but you make it work. That's why when you come down here, you'll try to see it. You won't see the lights on. We don't show off something we don't have, but you have an understanding now of the Carpenter Shop. And we just recently cleaned this up a little bit. We have working stock for different things, display cases, making ventilation ducts for other spots that were missing material, or whatever need be. So we use this shop multi-purpose for stuff. One of the original grinders, since grinders are easily picked up, probably left here. The table saw, as you can see, is a rigid, and rigid wasn't around back in the time. But we still have to do work here for display cases, framework, and working on all different parts of the ship, the deck being one of them. Now, as you can see here, since space is a commodity on a battleship, these are two hoists for the gun mounts. Coming up from our deep well, we have two here and two there. These are actually serving two different mounts. And from this position, I'm willing to bet these are the two O2 level mounts. Mount 9, Mount 7, I'm willing to believe. So the two back there, so they came through the space, that's why you see them. These are armored protected hoists going down to the 5-inch magazine, but they come up through the Carpenter Shop. So it's a Carpenter Shop. It works. We have plugs for power tools, but we also have drawers for bins for holding and stashing material. These are original spots for storing material. But this is a semi-working carpenter shop that that we have, and we do work to restore the ship or do projects, either supporting other ships here at the fleet, Battleship Cove, or Marine Museum, or Kennedy was in the process of restoring her rails, wooden rails, on board, ongoing with the Girl Scouts and Eagle Scouts doing their project to restore. So right now they cleaned and resealed them. So we have them stored here, so come spring, when they're ready, they'll put the final coat on and they'll put them up on display. So this is our Carpenter Shop. It's above the armored deck here. It's the main armor belt. You can see it's a little rigid, a little nasty, but this is the armor that protects. That's part of the ship's citadel. But as you see, the Carpenter Shop's put in where it can be fit. The ship's stack is here. Berthing spaces are out there. Passageway coming through. One big city, just another big shop. But an important one. And we're going to do a lot of projects here in the future. We'll show you some of them as they come along. Thanks for your time. If you like what you see, share, subscribe, and like it. And if you want to volunteer and do things, look into it. Go to our website, and we can see if we can hook you up and make you part of the crew of volunteers here. Thank you for your time. I'm GM1 Tom Lowney. Have a good day.